Hey, welcome back to the channel. This episode will be talking about whether or not I feel like the Kings' past season was a success or a failure. If you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe down below. Be greatly appreciated. Let's get right to it. So this past season, the Kings' record was pretty similar to what it was the year prior, but the year prior, they were the third seed. This year, they didn't even make the playoffs. They were the ninth seed, had to play in the play-in, won the first, and lost the second to the Pelicans, who they happened to go 0-6 against this year. And when you think about it, it's like, okay, so they were only a couple wins shy of what they were last year, but you went from a 3 to a 9. How's that happen? And so if the year before was such a positive, wouldn't this year kind of be considered about the same? But to me, no, not really, not close. Because to me, the problem was, dating back from last trade season to this trade season, they did absolutely nothing to get a better team. They tried to run it back, and everyone saw the flaws. They're like, oh, you don't have enough depth. Like, you don't have any wings. Like, you have Keegan, and then you don't have anything. Harrison Barnes, 1 out of 10 games, would go off for like 20-something points. But then the other 9 games, he would get single digits, be a traffic cone on defense, and they would get destroyed. And that continued for the past year and a half. They need to find a replacement for Harrison Barnes. Yes, he'll have a good game here and there. And we're like, oh, look, Harrison Barnes. Yeah, we can keep him. And then the very next game, he goes right back to being Harrison Barnes. Yes, he's a good vet. But you can't rely on him on offense or defense. And the Pelicans, they just destroyed the game. Actually, not just Pelicans. Anybody with an athletic forward, whether it was a big name or not, destroyed the Kings. Every game, there'd be a forward. You'd be like, uh-oh, this guy's going to go off. And you can just see it coming. As soon as they would just go off. Kings couldn't do anything about it. And they would try to, but they just couldn't. This offseason, they have to address the 4. They have to. You don't necessarily need to get a big name. Could be some small name, but someone that can replace him, and they don't need to be great offensively. They don't need to be great offensively, but they need to provide some defense. That is what killed the Kings, was defense. And yes, with Monk getting hurt, that killed the Kings. Monk and Herter being out, that basically stopped the end of the season right there. As soon as they both went out, it was like, all right, well, this season's over. They got nothing. Yes, Keon Ellis he fit in well. Starting, but the problem was he's only 6'3". Fox is only like 6'4", 6'3". So the problem is when you have Keon Ellis starting instead of like Herter, who's 6'7", now you got 2 guys in your front court who are only like 6'3". It's not going to work because then people can just rise up over the top of them and shoot a shot. And yes, they're in the face, but they're not in the face. They got an easy shot over them. So they need to work on getting someone who can play defense, and it's a little bit taller. Keon, yes, he was great, but he's a defender, not really an offensive guy. Like, he went off against the Warriors, but then the Pelicans, he did absolutely nothing on offense, and they needed a third guy that game to step up. Keegan, coming into his third year, hopefully he's able to improve just like he did his second year. Just get better, slowly get better. I think his defense picked up, but I honestly feel like it hurt his offense because he was putting so much effort in the defense that it hurt him on offense on the shooting. So if they can get someone that can help him defensively, that'll be huge. Get someone that can help him defensively so he can save some of that energy for the offensive end would be huge. Because like the Warriors game, he went off. But then that Pelicans game, he just wasn't there. It was only Fox and Sabonis. I am happy that Domas had a good 2 games because it kind of he was getting a lot of blame in that Warriors postseason series. So it's good to see him kind of actually play well and people not start blaming him for the losing. But I think this is a big offseason for the Kings. They need to do something. They may have to trade Herter. Hopefully they'll be able to re-sign Monk, but unfortunately I have a feeling someone's going to offer him a lot of money in a starting role. And if you offer him money and a starting role, he's gone. I don't know what the Kings can do to try to improve. Hopefully Herter comes back stronger and has a breakout year after I guess you can say a bad year, a down year. Hopefully he can step up and be like he was 2 years ago. They need to work on that bench. Maybe Sasha can step up. He had a hard problem staying healthy last year. Keon Ellis looks like he's going to be a valuable point guard off the bench. I think that's his role more so off the bench, not starting. He can come off the bench, apply that point guard, that defense. I don't know. It's going to be a very tough offseason. I think there's going to be some changes. Wouldn't surprise me if maybe they traded Davion Mitchell. He stepped up as well when Monk went out, but again, he's more of a defensive guy. But the problem is, again, he's on the shorter end, so he can get up on you. But the problem is they can just shoot up over the top of him. What do you guys think down below? What do you think the Kings should do? Like he said, hopefully they're able to keep Monk. Just have a feeling that there's going to be a team out there. A lot of people are saying like the Magic. They're going to be out. They're going to have a lot of money free. That they're going to offer him a big contract, a starting role. And like I said, that's the main thing right there. He wants to start. You start him, he's gone. I think with the Kings, he's best off the bench because of their starting lineup's height and whatnot, to where I don't think you can have two guys who are 6'3" and under who don't really play much defense. Fox plays good defense, but you don't want Fox to be your main defender on a point guard. You would hope for that to be your shooting guard to maybe help with that defense on that point guard so you can rest Fox so he can play the offense. Like kind of what the Warriors did with Curry and Clay. Clay would play the best offensive guy, and Curry would just kind of sit off on the non-offensive guy and kind of rest up. That's what you would hope for. So I don't think you can play Monk and Fox together because that's going to hurt defensively. And it showed, if there's stats out there that showed when you put Monk with that starting unit, that was one of the worst defensive units out there for the Kings because there was no defense on that unit. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think this was a successful season, okay season, or a failure? I feel like it was okay. There's just so much more improvement that they needed to do, and they didn't do anything at all. While all the teams around them were getting better, they just stayed and did nothing, and it proved this season that they just weren't that good when it came down to it. They could not finish games. When it came down to it, they couldn't get stops when they needed them, couldn't get rebounds, couldn't score. It's just, I don't know what it was, but when it was a big game, they couldn't put good games together. The most they could do was 2. And going into that Pelicans game, I had a bad feeling. They played good against Blazers, the Warriors, and then that third game, they laid an egg. And that's what it was all year. They would play 2 good games, laid an egg. 2 good games, lay an egg. So, I don't know what they need to do, but they need to figure something out, get a replacement for Barnes, go from there. Let me know what you think down below. Hit the subscribe and like. See you on the other side.